What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Doing It with Jason. My name is Jason, and today I'll be showing you guys how to build a bench seat. It's pretty much a basic cabinet. It's all about the size that makes it different than like a kitchen cabinet or a vanity. So today we're going to be assembling it, cutting it out, doing all the parts. I'm going to show you step by step how to put it together. And as always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, be sure to subscribe down below and like the video, share it with your friends. Let me know in the comment section what you would like to see me build or show next. All right, so here's my sides of my bench seat, and it's gonna have drawers in this thing and all kinds of cool stuff. So we gotta put our bottom shelf on, and here's our cleats that I talked about in a previous video. I just put some lovely Type-on 3 glue on there. Put them on there, squish them down pretty good to get the glue to compress, and then I'm using an 18 gauge nailer. Brad nailer, and it makes it go pretty easy. Do the same thing with the left side. I got the fronts facing out, so if you look from my point of view, the left side will be the front and then the right side will be the front. Although it doesn't really matter so much in this combination for the way I'm building, and yeah, just so you know. Anyway, I put some glue on the top of the cleat, and then this is the bottom shelf that I'm pulling out. I'm gonna put some glue on the side of the bottom shelf as well, so it's glued in two different points, and it's gonna almost act even better than a dado, I believe, and it gives it really good strength and structure when you put it all together. So I just line them up, squish them together, and then I'm gonna throw a few brads in there, and I'm also gonna put some screws in this thing because I want it really strong, and the wall will hide this because this is going wall to wall, which means there will be a wall on left and right of this, and it's gonna slip right in between the two walls, so no one but the drywall will ever see those screws. And always wipe the glue when you put glue on into the wood. It kind of helps spread it, because if you just leave a string of glue, it kind of, I don't know, it's not as strong, I believe, because you're only on that little bitty, you know, thickness of the glue line. So when you spread it, it works really well. And I'm gonna nail the left side as well and put some screws in this thing. Now here is the top, I guess, runner is what I'm gonna call them, and I've talked about it in a previous video. I cut these pieces at the same time as I did the bottom shelf, so they're exactly the same width, and they will fit right in between the left and right sides. And this is gonna be, well, actually I think I called them a stretcher. But you're gonna nail these, and what I do is I nail one on one side, and then I come to the other side and I nail it as well, although I skipped that footage and I just went straight to screwing. But nail both sides, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for the back stretcher. I'm gonna glue it and nail both sides and put some screws in there. And then it's gonna give it the nice strength that I need back there for the top, and then the top will sit right on top of there, and boom. This is another piece of stretcher. It's gonna go and make that nice little L. When you make that L like it's making right there, if you could see, it's almost like an iron, angle iron or whatnot. And it's gonna give it a good strength and good, you know, resilience and last years and years and years. And yeah.
Alrighty, dighty. The base is all put together, as you can see right there. Looks like a beauty. That's the back side. So these are the stretchers I've been talking about. One's going up, one's going across, and then one's going on the cross on the front. Now what's going to make that nice bracing is when we put the face frame over here. Let's just flip this around. So when we put the face frame, attaching it to the face right here, which is all here, and as you can see, I put X's everywhere to know where the fronts are. Anyway, it's gonna make that same little L kind of thing that's down there. Ready to kick some butt on the face frame.
Okay, so we are ready to assemble our face frame to our plywood cabinet. So first of all, this is paint grade, so I'm just gonna be putting on my nail holes. So I'm gonna be using a nail gun, an 18 gauge brad nailer, and I'm choosing to just glue it, nail it, and then clamp it just to give it a little more strength. The nails kind of help hold it in place until the clamps get on there. If it was a stain grade piece, I would either A, pocket screw and hide, you know, my pocket screw holes somewhere hidden to affix the face frame one, or I would also maybe just clamp it and glue it, which is plenty strong enough as well. I wouldn't use any nails for stain grade because, you know, I don't want to have to be putting them and you'll see the difference slightly, and it's just annoying. So for paint grade, no big deal. Nail this sucker, fill all the holes, you'll be good to go. But always check my face frame first that we built and make sure that it all fits before I put glue on here and get it all dirty, because, you know, you don't want to be putting glue on here, you know, sticking this to it and then it doesn't fit, something's wrong. So there we go. I laid it all out, so it works out really well. Left about a 1/16 of an inch reveal on the inside here, which is what I wanted. I'd rather be a hair smaller as far as where it sits in here than a hair bigger, because then you see the plywood and it looks like a mistake. Whereas having it set in, you can set it in a 1/2 inch, 1/4 of an inch, flush it pretty close if you want. You know, it's up to you. So yeah, it fits. All of our measurements look good, so now we're ready to glue it. And when I'll be nailing this with a 18 gauge brad nailer, guess I'll have to find that. So glue, as always, my favorite glue, Type-On 3. It's better than all the other Type-Ons I find. Not much more expensive than the Type-On 1 or 2. 2 has a really short open time, which means you can't work with it too long. And I'm probably going to do a video explaining the differences between all the different glues that they have out there on the market. Because there's more than just this. There's so many. There's melamine glue. If you're gluing melamine together and you're using melamine for some reason, they have glue for that. That's special. They got all kinds. So we'll definitely make a video on that. So I'm going to be putting my glue on here, put a nice little bead, and then you come back. I really enjoy rubbing the glue in and spreading the glue. You could use a glue spreader they make just for this. But, you know, less tools the better. Finger works pretty well. If you're afraid of any kind of issues with that touching your skin, or if you have any allergies, I mean, obviously you can wear a glove for this, or maybe definitely invest in one of those rollers that they sell pretty much online everywhere. You can find those. Maybe I'll put a link down below, because I have bought one in the past. I just don't find the time worth using it. But if you don't want your finger looking all gross, like so, which I don't mind, I kind of like it when it dries, any residue, it turns all kind of like snake skin almost, like you're shedding. It's really neat peeling it off a couple hours later when you forgot your fingers were covered in glue. Uh-oh. Hey, Logan. Here, boy. There you are. Hidden. And yeah, so we're just going to set this up. Now, the best way to put this on to keep everything square is I'm going to start on one side. And mine are just about flush. I think I have about a 1/16 of a reveal, a hair under, maybe a little less. And I'm just going to nail that, flush the bottom, make sure everything's all lined up really well. And boom. I'm going to put a few nails in this sucker. I'll explain that more in later videos. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here. And then now sometimes my wood's a little bowed right here. So what I like to do is I'll overhang it off the table a little bit and get a clamp. And I can clamp it back down before I nail it, get it in the right spot. Clamps are your best friend. You know, sometimes wood just has a mind of its own. It wants to be bent. It all depends on how much tension was on that bad boy. So yeah, I'm just going to get it right about where I want it. I'm actually going to leave this clamp here anyhow, and that is just right. So technically, I don't even need a nail hole there at all. So I'll just go around it, put a few here. And like I said, I'm going to be clamping this whole thing together anyhow. The nails are more or less just to hold me in place while we're waiting. All right. So now I can pretty much lay it flat on the way it's going to go. Make it a little easier to clamp it. And then another trick is I'm not going to cover any of the nail holes with a clamp because I could fill those at the same time. And I don't have to worry about, you know, unclamping, doing it later, filling it. I can just fill it right now at the same time. And that way the nail holes will be drying, the putty and the nail holes will be drying at the same time the glue's drying, and, you know, making everything work a little faster. And there's a million types of putty around the world. I'm using this DAP stuff. It works pretty well. Bondo works pretty good. I'll put a link down below for this. It all depends on, you know, what I'm staining for, or what I'm painting. If it's a paint grade, Bondo or this stuff works pretty well. And then I like to use Formica chips. You can go to Home Depot or whatnot and find some laminate samples. They're usually for free. Or you can use a putty knife. But laminate samples are pretty cool. Recycling. I mean, I guess it's not really recycling considering, yeah. We'll just stop talking about that. You could use your finger to put this stuff on if you like ripping stuff off your fingers later on. I sometimes am guilty of that. And then wiping it on my pants and ruining every piece of clothing that I have. Get a little more. And what's really cool about this stuff, this DAP stuff, I like it. It's actually written on there upside down. So the lid comes off on the bottom, which is technically the top, but they put the sticker upside down. So that way when you close it up, you store it like this, it keeps the air out of it, and helps it stay longer and last longer and stay fresh. So pretty smart idea those guys got right there. And that's it. Our nail holes are all covered up. Throw some extra back into the can. And then here I'll let you see how it all looks as well. So here's what I was talking about before when I was laying it all out. The ears on the cabinet are right there. So that's going to be wall to wall. And that little ear, which is 3/4 of an inch, a pretty nice big chunk right there, that's going to let me, get it right snug to the wall and cut it down if I need to, which is going to help tremendously. Wall to wall, there's no reason to have the side of the cabinet, which is that part right there, all the way on the other side of the face frame. It's better to have it on the inside because now I can set my drawer slide up to there and also have that space of void, which is no big deal. Not much of a wasted space, especially when you're doing drawers. There's no wasted space, actually. And putting it there gives us a nice little easier time to install. So we're going to let this thing sit, and next on the agenda will be sanding it.